Hi everyone, welcome to the second episode of Doors Coding School podcast. Today we're going to talk about why programming languages don't matter. If you want to get an ebook on how to become a developer as fast as possible with free online resources, take a look at the description below. So this is kind of a controversial title, but I believe it's completely true, at least for beginners. One of the experiences I have with students when they start, obviously because they're not immersed in the coding world, is that people focus too much on programming languages. I'd say in the first 3 to 4 months, all you have to focus is on programming concepts. So what are for loops? What are functions? What are conditionals, if and else statements? What kind of type of variables there exists? And I think people get too stuck on I want to do this or I want to do that, but they don't understand that underlying all programming languages you have the same big ideas. So at the beginning, what I recommend is to focus on the big ideas. And one of the best ways actually to do that, and I think people underestimate this a lot, is through an easy programming language. The easier the better, actually. That's why one of the most famous computer science courses in the world, CS50, starts with Scratch, which is a programming language catered to beginners. I think this is so basically they're teaching the top students from the US and from the world for that matter, and they teach a programming language for kids. And why is that? Because they understand that it's not important to start with a programming language. It's important to start teaching the concepts. And Scratch is great because a lot of programming languages people give up just because there is a lot of setting up to do in programming languages. So if you wanna do C, you have to learn how to compile the programming language. If you don't know, it's just like you need to write on that black screen some commands that are kind of obscure for a beginner. Then you have to put a bunch of commands at the top, int main void, include stdio.h, which you don't really need to know. It's too much information at the beginning. Whereas with Scratch, you can just drag and drop blocks of code and you still get the big ideas. So what would I do if I was learning how to code right now? Take a hard course, a course that really focuses on the fundamentals, and I always emphasize 2 courses that are free and online. MIT Introduction to Computer Science using Python, which is amazing. I've taken that course and you have a solid, you won't learn how to do mobile apps, how to do web apps. You won't learn any of those things, but you come out of this course, it will take around 3 months with a strong foundation on computer science. Same thing with CS50. The first few weeks, you work a lot on the fundamentals. A lot of the exercises at the beginning will be on the fundamentals. So you'll be strong in those concepts to move on to harder stuff. There is a famous kind of tutoring school. It's all over the world called Kumon, where they teach math. And the idea is it's a lot of repetition, a lot of memorization, but the idea is the following. If you memorize the basic stuff, the mechanic stuff, that frees up your mind to think of the bigger picture. And I think that's true for coding as well. If you're trying to build an app and you're struggling with the basics, you're losing time. So at the beginning, make sure you automate those basic tasks that are boring. They are boring, that take repetition, but they are necessary. That's why with my students, I've developed my own material where basically I give like 30, 40, over 100 exercises, sometimes depending on the topic, so people really understand the concepts from all points of view. Learning a new skill is hard. So if it wasn't hard, you wouldn't pay as much. Anything that there is a low barrier to entry, the salary is not high. So the barrier to entry in coding is hard. Why? Because there is a lot of repetition involved, and if you're working full-time, you don't have some sort of accountability system, it's really easy to give up. That's why I created, you can look at the description below, this community of coders, of people learning how to code, where you can ask questions, where you meet other students, because it's a great way for you to grow and actually focus on these big ideas. So I hope you got value from this podcast, and hope to see you in the following podcast, where I'll give you tips on how to learn how to code. See you soon.